You know that moment at dinner? Everyone's on their phones, scrolling, posting, checking notifications. And there's one person just sitting there, no phone, just eating. That person doesn't have Instagram, no Twitter, no TikTok, never posted a story in their life. And when people find out, they assume something's wrong, that they're antisocial, disconnected, living in the past. But they're not missing out, and they're not behind. Or maybe you are that person. If you don't use social media, not because you're too busy, but because something deep inside you rejects it, you're about to understand why your brain works differently than 90% of the people around you. I'm going to walk you through 5 psychological traits. And by the time we reach trait number 3, you'll understand exactly why your friends who post 10 times a day will never understand how your mind actually works. When you see these traits clearly, you'll stop justifying why you live differently. You'll recognize that what looks like absence is actually presence. What looks like being left behind is actually being ahead. So, let's begin. Trait 1. You have high cognitive autonomy, and you protect it fiercely. Most people don't realize how much of their day is spent thinking thoughts that aren't actually theirs. Scroll social media for 10 minutes and you've consumed someone's political opinion, someone's anxiety about their body, someone's highlight reel making you question your own life, someone's outrage about something you weren't even thinking about 5 minutes ago. And your brain absorbs all of it, processes it, stores it, quietly uses it to build your worldview. But you don't let that happen. You don't use social media because you understand something most people never consciously recognize. Your attention is the raw material of your thoughts. Whoever controls your attention controls what you think about. This is called cognitive autonomy, the ability to protect your mental space from external influence, to decide for yourself what deserves your focus, your energy, your consideration. Research in attention economics shows that the average person checks their phone 96 times per day, once every 10 minutes during waking hours. And each time, they're allowing an algorithm, designed by people they've never met, optimized for engagement, not truth, to decide what enters their mind. You refuse that trade, not because you're paranoid, not because you think you're above anyone, but because you've noticed what happens when you give your attention away. You stop thinking your own thoughts. You start having opinions about things you don't actually care about, feeling anxious about problems that aren't yours, comparing your real life to curated highlights, believing the world is exactly as chaotic and hopeless as the algorithm needs you to believe, because outrage and fear keep you scrolling. Think about what this looks like in practice. Someone asks your take on a recent news story. Most people immediately share an opinion, one they formed in the 30 seconds it took to read a headline and 3 comments. You say, "I don't know enough about that yet," and people think you're uninformed. They don't realize you're actually more informed, because you know what you don't know, and you refuse to fill that gap with other people's half-formed thoughts just to have something to say. Your absence from social media isn't about being disconnected. It's about staying connected to yourself, to your actual thoughts, to ideas you've taken time to develop rather than borrowed from whoever posted loudest. Trait 2. You prefer deep relationships over broad networks. Social media promises connection. Stay in touch with hundreds of people. Never lose contact with anyone. Build a network that spans the globe. But you've recognized something most people haven't. Connection and contact are not the same thing. Knowing what someone had for breakfast isn't connection. Seeing their vacation photos isn't intimacy. Clicking like on their anniversary post isn't friendship. You don't use social media because you don't want shallow relationships with 500 people. You want deep relationships with 5. This is called relational depth over breadth, a preference for knowing people well rather than knowing many people at a surface level. Research on social connection consistently confirms it. The number of relationships someone has matters far less than the quality. People with 3 close friends report higher life satisfaction than people with 30 acquaintances. Depth beats breadth every time. But social media rewards breadth, posting publicly, performing for an audience, maintaining the appearance of connection with people you haven't had a real conversation with in years. You see someone's post about a difficult time they're going through. You could comment, react with a sad emoji, but you know that's not real support. So if you actually care, you call them. You show up. You have a real conversation. And if you don't care enough to do that, then maybe you're not actually friends anymore. And that's okay, because you'd rather be honest about that than perform friendship in a comment section. You'd rather have one phone call where someone tells you what they're actually going through than 100 likes on a post where everyone performs happiness. You'd rather sit across from someone and see their face than read their curated thoughts filtered through the anxiety of how it'll be received. Think about this. When something important happens in your life, who do you tell? Most people post it. Share it with everyone at once, then watch to see who reacts. And the reaction becomes part of the experience, maybe even more important than the experience itself. You tell specific people, people who matter, people who will actually care, not just click a button. And later, when you see those people in person, there's nothing to catch them up on. They already know, because you've been in real contact the whole time. Your absence from social media isn't about being antisocial. It's about being selectively social, investing your relational energy in people who are actually present in your life. Trait 3. You have low external validation needs, and that makes you rare. This is the trait that confuses people most, because for most people, social media isn't just about connection. It's about validation, knowing that other people see them, approve of them, think they're interesting, attractive, successful, worth paying attention to. You don't need that, and that makes you fundamentally different. The entire premise, post something, then wait to see if people validate it, feels emotionally backwards to you. This is called low external validation dependence. Your sense of self-worth comes primarily from internal sources, not external feedback. Research in developmental psychology shows that people with high external validation needs are significantly more likely to experience anxiety, depression, and unstable self-esteem. Because when your worth depends on other people's reactions, you're handing them control over how you feel about yourself. You've never handed anyone that control. You don't need someone to like your photo to know you looked good. You don't need comments to know your thought was interesting. You don't need followers to know you're living a life worth living. And people find this threatening because it means you're playing a different game. They're competing for attention. You're not competing at all. Think about what happens when someone accomplishes something meaningful. For most people, the first impulse is, I should post this, not just because they're proud, but because they need other people to witness it for it to feel real. When you accomplish something, you feel it, immediately, internally. Whether anyone else knows doesn't change the weight of it. That's not arrogance. That's self-sufficiency. You've built an internal validation system that doesn't require constant external input. And in a world where most people check their phones within 5 minutes of waking up, just to see if anyone noticed them, that level of independence is extraordinarily rare. Trait 4. You understand attention as a finite resource, and you guard it. You don't use social media because you've done the math. 30 minutes a day of scrolling, which is below average, adds up to 182 hours per year. 7 full days, an entire week of your life, gone, watching other people's curated highlights. You've decided that trade isn't worth it. This is called attention protection, the understanding that your attention isn't a renewable resource you can spend carelessly. It's the currency you use to build your actual life. Research in cognitive science shows that attention is even more finite than we realize. The average person has roughly 16 waking hours per day. Remove work, basic maintenance, and sleep, and you're left with maybe 3 to 4 hours of truly discretionary attention. That's it. That's what you have to build relationships, learn skills, create things, think deeply, experience life. And social media companies are engineered to take as much of that as possible. They employ hundreds of psychologists, designers, and engineers whose entire job is to make their platforms addictive, variable rewards, infinite scroll, push notifications designed to trigger FOMO, every feature optimized to keep you there just one more minute. You've opted out, not because you're disciplined, though you are, because you see the trade clearly. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Someone who spends 2 hours a day on social media is spending 730 hours per year. Enough time to learn a language, read 50 books, build a business, master an instrument. And what do they get in return? A vague sense of what acquaintances from high school are doing, a dopamine hit from likes, a baseline anxiety from comparing their behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. You looked at that exchange and said, no, not because you're better than them, because you value your attention too much to give it away for free, because you understand that at the end of your life, you won't wish you'd spent more time scrolling. You'll wish you'd spent more time building, creating, connecting, living. Your absence from social media isn't about missing out. It's about protecting the one resource you need to actually live the life you want. Trait 5. You value presence over performance. You don't use social media because you've noticed something most people miss. The moment you start documenting your life for an audience, you stop fully living it. You're at dinner with someone you love. The food arrives. It looks beautiful. And most people's first instinct? Take a photo. Adjust the lighting. Choose a filter. Write a caption. Post it. Wait for reactions. 3 minutes turning an experience into content. And in those 3 minutes, the food got cold. The conversation stalled. The moment passed. You just eat. You taste it. You enjoy the person across from you. You're there. This is called experiential presence over performative living. The choice to fully inhabit your life rather than constantly stepping outside it to narrate it for others. Research on mindfulness and life satisfaction confirms it. People who are mentally present during experiences report significantly higher enjoyment than people who are mentally divided, part of them experiencing, part of them already composing how to describe it. Social media creates that division. It trains you to see moments not as moments, but as material, to evaluate experiences based on how they'll look rather than how they feel. You go to a concert and watch people record entire songs on phones they'll never watch the footage on, capturing terrible audio, missing the experience happening right in front of them. You visit a beautiful place and see people spend more time posing than actually looking at where they are. You have a meaningful conversation and notice the exact moment the other person's eyes flick to their phone, checking if something more interesting is happening somewhere else. You refuse that split. You've been to concerts where you watched the entire show, beautiful places where you just looked, conversations where you never once thought about whether they'd make a good post. And because of that, you remember them differently, more vividly, more completely, because you were actually there, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, fully present in a way that people who are constantly documenting can never quite achieve. Think about the last time you were with someone who was half present, taking photos, checking notifications, physically with you, but not actually there. You felt it. You refuse to be that person, not because you're judging them, but because you know the people who matter most to you deserve your full presence. And you deserve to fully experience your own life. Your absence from social media isn't about being left out. It's about being fully in your life, in your relationships, in the moments that actually matter. So if you don't use social media, you're not missing out. The world will tell you you're disconnected, antisocial, missing out on opportunities and cultural moments everyone else is part of. Here's the truth. You're not disconnected. You're selectively connected to things that actually matter. You're not antisocial. You're deeply social with people who are actually present. You're not missing out. You're opting out of a game that was never designed for your benefit. People who don't use social media aren't people who can't keep up. They're people who looked at modern life and made a different choice. That depth matters more than breadth. That presence matters more than visibility. That their attention belongs to them. And the traits that come with that choice? They're the traits of someone who understands something most people will spend their entire lives never quite grasping. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your attention. The moment you give that away, you've given away everything that makes life worth living. You're not behind. You're not doing it wrong. You're protecting something most people don't even know they're losing. And that's not a flaw. That's rare. Which trait resonated most? Drop a number, 1 through 5. And if you want to go deeper, tell me this. What's the one thing people always say when they find out you don't use social media? Because I read every comment. And sometimes the most validating thing isn't just understanding yourself. It's knowing that someone else recognizes what you carry. Because you're not alone in this. Millions of people have looked at social media and decided it's not for them. Not out of fear, not out of judgment, but out of clarity. And understanding why you're one of them changes everything. Here's what most people don't realize. The choice to step away from social media isn't a rejection of connection. It's a reclaiming of it. It's saying that your relationships matter too much to be reduced to likes, that your experiences matter too much to be performed, that your attention matters too much to be sold. You're not missing out, you're living differently. And living differently, in a world that demands conformity, takes a kind of clarity most people never develop. It takes courage to choose depth when everyone around you is rewarding breadth, to choose presence when everyone's rewarding performance, To choose yourself when the entire digital world is designed to make you forget who you are. That's not absence, that's choice. And choice, made consciously and defended consistently, is one of the most powerful things a human being can have. If this video helped you see yourself more clearly, share it with someone who might need to hear it. They might never find the words themselves, but this might say it for them. And if you're new here, this channel exists for people who think differently, feel deeply, and have spent their lives wondering if that makes them strange. It doesn't. It makes you rare. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.